Hello, and welcome to Extraordinary Health. I'm Dr. Janey, and this is video number 2, and the topic for today is brain health. Now, I wanted to cover this topic early in the series because your brain is one of the most important tools that you have. In fact, a healthy, sound mind is what enables us to be discerning in life, to exercise conscious choices, to be creative, to become all that we are capable of. And yet, during these times that we find ourselves, we are witness to unprecedented levels of brain fog, declining memory, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. And there's a reason for this, that the prevalence of these conditions has been escalating in recent decades, and we'll get to that soon. Now, because the incidence of these conditions are so pervasive, people have been led to believe that a gradual decline in cognitive function is just a natural part of aging. But this is not true. I'm here to tell you it is utterly avoidable. So let's have a look at that. The performance of your brain, which is quite simply a supercomputer, is a function of the quality of your blood. So your brain is powered by all the nutrients carried in your blood to your brain by your carotid arteries. So the oxygen, of course, the glucose, the minerals, phytonutrients from all our natural foods. And these elements nourish our brain and support good, healthy brain function. Now, of course, it stands to reason that while good, healthy blood will nourish our brain, it stands to reason as well that if our blood is not very healthy and contains impurities of various forms, then these two could harm our brain. So, what might these impurities be down to? Well, as I alluded to a moment ago, we are living in a time in history in which there is an overwhelm of toxins in our environment. It's in our food chain, the air around us, many of the products we use, both on our bodies and in our homes, and they contain a variety of toxins as well as heavy metals. Now, at this point, aluminium really warrants some special mention in view of the fact of just how ubiquitous it has become in our world, and also, more pertinently with respect to our brain, just how neurotoxic it is. So let's take a quick look at how we may be inadvertently exposing ourselves to aluminium on a daily basis. First of all, pharmaceutical drugs are a major source of aluminium. In fact, the GROW network, it's a really good resource if you feel like checking it out, actually lists pharmaceuticals as the most significant source of aluminium, particularly in antacids. So if you or anyone that you know and love is in the habit of popping an antacid to avoid the symptoms of acid reflux or heartburn, really, I recommend against it. First of all, you're not treating the cause. There's a far bigger reason as to why you might be experiencing those symptoms, and it is that which we want to be addressing. But secondly, to this point, is antacids are a source of aluminium, and we certainly don't want to be adding that to our body. Still in the family of pharmaceuticals as a source of aluminium, some painkillers, some common antidiarrheal medications also contain aluminium. So be aware of pharmaceuticals as a source of aluminium, and right there is another very good reason to perhaps considering avoiding pharmaceuticals if at all possible, because there are better options. Next, vaccines. Several vaccines contain aluminium. So the common hepatitis A and B contain aluminium. The very common DPT, children's vaccine, contains aluminium. The HPV vaccine contains aluminium, pneumococcal vaccine, and others. In fact, one study showed that the amount of aluminium in vaccines may actually be 5 or 6 times greater than the amount that's even listed on the vaccine. So take great care in deciding whether to have a vaccine or not. Next, cookware. Do not cook with aluminium cookware. It leaches aluminium into your food and is another potentially significant cause of aluminium toxicity. And then as a general rule, you want to think about avoiding processed food as a whole. They tend to be higher in aluminium. These are the ready prepared, highly processed food that is far from the way nature designed. Some common examples are non-dairy creamers, some highly processed cheeses and certain baked goods, soy-based foods. These are all some of the most common food sources that may be contaminated with aluminium. And then next on our list of sources of aluminium is chemtrails. Now, this one is not easily avoided, but nonetheless, they are commonplace in most parts of the world, and so we need to be aware of it. So there you have it. There are many different sources of toxicity, but now let's look at what we can do to limit our exposure, and in doing so, promote greater brain health. So broadly speaking, and this is the case really with all natural medicine, is we have 2 main avenues of addressing health. Firstly, we want to reduce our exposure to these ongoing toxins, which may be damaging, which is why it's helpful to know the sources so we know what to avoid in our everyday world. And secondly, we also want to support our body in eliminating these toxins that we might already be exposed to. Okay, so makes sense. 4 key points that I would like to raise here for us to focus on that can promote your brain health. Number 1. Water. Okay, we talked about it in call number 1. If you missed that, please take a look. And we stressed there just how important water is in maintaining the integrity of all our tissues and organs and in flushing our body of toxins. And here's the thing, the brain uses more water than any other organ in the body. In fact, it is roughly 85% water, really quite incredible. So water will help to flush toxins out from the cells in the brain, flush it out into the bloodstream from where it can be easily expelled from our various organs of elimination, such as the kidneys, the liver, the lungs, etc. So this might seem like a basic fundamental, but please do not overlook this, because if we fail to address this simple principle, then we really undermine everything else that we do, because without water, the body is simply not able to do what it does so well, and that is cleanse and heal itself. Secondly, we want to eat a lot of fiber. Okay, fiber is our friend when it comes to mopping up and eliminating heavy metals, particularly aluminium, but also the other ones such as mercury and lead and cadmium, etc., so that they can then be released through the gut and expelled. So a real strong focus on fiber if you're not already there. Lots of fruit and vegetables. These are our natural fibers, as well as whole grains that are organic. Number 3 on our list is sweat. You want to increase your level of sweating as frequently as possible through either just doing your favorite exercise, any exercise that brings you joy. This is not about pounding the roads and doing something that is not fun to you. No, find something that brings your heart joy and do more of that. You can also try saunas, for example, an infrared sauna that can also promote sweating. And then just a tip, you really want to shower quite soon after sweating, because those toxins that are then released through your skin, the largest organ in your body, then need to be washed away so that they don't become reabsorbed back into your circulation. So shower soon after you work up a sweat. And then point number 4 is focusing on what we mentioned a short while ago, and that is the really key element in so often being a cause of toxicity of the brain, that being aluminium. So we need to focus specifically on this one. And firstly, we want to limit our exposure to all the potential sources in our everyday world. And I touched on those earlier, you know, the pharmaceutical drugs, the vaccines, the cookware, etc. But in addition to that, we also want to support our body in expelling any aluminium that may already be in our bodies. And fortunately, beautiful Mother Nature offers her own natural protection against aluminium, and the answer is silica. Now, silica, when it is taken in the bioavailable form, it's actually called orthosalicylic acid. You don't need to remember that name. But when this is consumed, it mops up the excess aluminium. And the aluminium then combines with the silica, and in doing so, it forms a very large molecule, which allows our kidneys to excrete it unharmed, so that we eliminate it in the urine and expel it from the body, preventing it from otherwise potentially causing neurotoxicity of the brain. Now, there's a few ways that you can take in silica. Firstly, you can opt for a supplement. Now, this is probably going to be in the form of horsetail herb. Horsetail herb is an amazing plant. It actually converts the elemental silica into that bioavailable form that I mentioned a moment ago. And so, yeah, that's a great place that you might want to go to. This I recommend most for people who already have signs of neurotoxicity. For example, someone you know is dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's or really failing memory, then this can certainly accelerate the uptake and elimination of the uptake of silica, and therefore the accelerated elimination of aluminium as a result of it. Also, some folk who may know in their everyday world that they're particularly exposed to aluminium for whatever reason, they might also want to support their diet with an aluminium supplement. Having said that, as many of you may know who have followed me for some time will know that I am not a huge fan of taking loads of different supplements. I do believe they have their place in the short term, but they can also serve as as a quick fix to some extent, and we need to be aware of this. You know, we don't want to be avoiding the real point here, that being addressing the cause and eliminating that. And then we don't need to rely on supplements. Of course, it makes no sense at all to take a supplement while not addressing the cause of the toxicity. But the good news is we don't even need to take a supplement. If you are in a pretty good place in your health and you just want to prevent degenerative signs of your brain and neurological system as you get older, then there are many different food sources that Mother Nature supplies that are wonderful natural sources of silica. And these foods are apples, celery, cabbage, cucumber, carrots, onions, oranges, fish, almonds, and unrefined organic grains. Okay. And as well as drinking water, some water offers trace amounts of silica. That does depend on the richness of the soil and the mineral rock through which it is filtered, but water can also be a source. So those food and water options are alternatives to taking a supplement, and that's where most people can get all their silica requirements without having to opt for a supplement. Oh, and just on a side note, silica also happens to be wonderful for a good healthy skin and hair and nails. So it really is an amazing element. So there you have it. Now, brain health is a big, big topic. We could certainly dive in deeper, but if you just do these 4 key points, you will make a sizable difference to your brain health over the long term. So have fun with that. I do hope that's been helpful. And if you'd like to enjoy more of these health bites, please consider subscribing. Simply go to patreon.com and visit us at Extraordinary Health. It would be a great joy to have you as part of our tribe. And I look forward to connecting with you there. So until then, lots of love.